Hey guys, it's Ryan with My Listing Club. In today's video, we are going to be looking at UiPress and how to supercharge your My Listing WordPress dashboard with this pretty amazing solution. The club has partnered with UiPress, formerly known as Admin 2020, way back in coincidentally the year 2020. So they've been a partner for a long time, and it's really awesome software. They've been making lots of great improvements over the past year or so, but especially over the last 6 months, just a lot of exciting changes. So I thought I would completely revamp the UiPress guide that I wrote a while back, and as well as do a new video for it. So that's why we are here, and let's go ahead and jump into it. To get to it from the My Listing Club website, just go up to the menu, MyListing Resources, and then you can filter by guides or just simply type in UiPress into the keywords, and that guide will pop open for you. So this guide right here, how to supercharge your MyListing WordPress dashboard with UiPress, is what I'm going to be using as a reference for this video. And as you can see here, it's updated as of the 20th, so super recent, and it's completely revamped from top to bottom. I completely rewrote it, the entire thing. And then once we're done with this video, it will appear at the bottom of this guide. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and move this over to my other screen, and we'll go ahead and see what this is all about. All right, so here I am on a My Listing testing site. I've done nothing else but install a couple basic plugins that I use for the videos and stuff. So UiPress was just installed, nothing else was done, hasn't even been activated yet, so you're going to see this from beginning to end. Just take a quick note, visual note of how the WordPress dashboard looks, because it's about to change, and then you can obviously look at your own install as a reference too. All right, so let's go ahead and activate this. So right off the bat, you see that WordPress the dashboard becomes just way more modern looking. It looks clean, modern, just awesome stuff. If you're the only admin on your site, this may not be as important to you as far as the aesthetics go, the way it looks. But if you have multiple people logging into your site, authors, editors, presenting them with a really nice, clean, powerful dashboard is probably a really good idea. But aside from just the look, if you're just a lone admin running your MyListing website, there's a lot of bells and whistles to this plugin that go beyond just the look. This plugin might actually help you eliminate some plugins, okay, which we'll get into. And there's no performance hit on your site. So some people might ask, does this slow down your site? It does not slow down your site whatsoever. So you can get over that fear. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into UiPress. Initial setup, we've got the plugin installed, we've got it activated. You'll put in your license key. So we'll go ahead and skip that. We've activated it. All right, let's get into white labeling. So this goes back to, again, if you're going to have multiple people logging into the back end of your website, white labeling is a good idea. We won't get into it into this video, but let's say you run a network of school websites and you're using WordPress multi-site, then white labeling really becomes even more awesome there. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. So WordPress dashboard and then settings. UiPress also adds this really cool search box at the very top. So you can see that in the top left corner. So if I just type in UiPress, you can see it comes right up here, UiPress settings. So that's where we're going to go. So that's a cool feature. Actually, you know what? It's wanting me to unlock and put in my code. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. All right, so now I've got my key in there, and I'm gonna just save changes and refresh my browser. There we go. So now we see all those pro features are unlocked. And as the guide shows, club members get 10% off UiPress, which is already very inexpensive software. So definitely check it out. Okay, so the first step, like I said, was we're going to rename UiPress. And we're going to rename it to whatever your company name is. So in my case, I'm just going to put in MyListing Club and save changes and refresh. So what you'll notice here is, like, let's go back to the plugins. You'll see here UiPress, it looks like it's removed, but it's not. It's actually renamed to MyListing Club. So it's going to follow the name of your that you put in there. The other thing too is, before when we typed in settings, we saw that UiPress came up. So let's type that in again. Let's just do settings. So now we see that UiPress is gone and it's MyListing Club settings. So really cool stuff there for white labeling. All right, let's go ahead and go back into our settings. And we're going to go here on the, stay here on the general tab. And the first thing we're going to set is the app icon. So we're just going to choose an image. Let's see if I have any in here. Let me upload an image real quick. And we're going to go ahead and add the admin favicon. We're just going to add that same file in. Within the guide, I go over the file sizes that you should, the dimensions that you should use for optimization and whatnot, and for crispness on your image. So it'll all be in the guide. And let's go ahead and save this and refresh our browser. So we see right up here, we've got a little icon there. Let's see here, there's another one. Yeah, so that's the one that appears there. And then the favicon you'll see up here in your admin pages. So we see here before we refresh, there's no favicon, and then up here we've got one in there. So that's the favicon that just appears on your admin pages. So that's really cool. You can actually add a different one that's on your website if you want to kind of like highlight, hey, I'm in the admin side of things. So you could put a different favicon in there to easily identify that. Okay, and next thing we're going to do is we're going to go up under menu, and we're going to look for, because we're currently in light mode, whatever we set here for the logo is what's going to show. So we're going to go ahead and do this one under light mode. So we're going to choose our logo. And as the guide says, this is the logo shown at the top left page. So when I refresh this, it should be this. If you're looking at my screen, the very top left icon looks like a little black box. So I'm going to save the changes, refresh. There we go. So that's in there. So the next up is the login logo. And for that, it's under the login tab. And again, these are all just white label stuff. There's a lot more stuff we're going to cover, but this is just the white labeling portion. Okay, so let's do the login logo. And we're just going to choose the same icon or same logo and refresh. Now let me pull up this site as if I was a normal, like a regular user. Sorry, I'm trying to find my taskbar here. There we go. Sorry about that. So let's go ahead and open an incognito tab here. We're going to drop in. Sorry about that. Let's see here. That should not be there. So let me go ahead and go into here, and I think I've got something I need to disable. All right, let's try this again. Let's refresh. There we go. Sorry about all that. Okay, so this is the logo that we just set, and that appears on our custom login page. So I'm gonna go ahead and move that off here again. All right, so then next up, we want to touch up that background. So let's look at that background. So this big blue space here, we want to edit that and put a nice image or a logo or something into there. So we'll go back to that same page in here. So we see login background. So I'm just going to upload another image and save changes. Let's go back to that page and refresh. Yeah, so as you can see, it's not quite right. It's kind of blown up. That's not the image that I actually wanted. So let me grab a different one here. 1 second. Oh, that's the one I want. Okay. All right, let me choose a different image here. And I go over the dimensions in the guide, so it'll all be in there. All right, let's refresh our settings. And let's refresh this page. There we go. So it looks better. You can play with it as you want. You know, maybe make this a little smaller. You can do all kinds of things on this side over here. Whatever you want to set. Set a pretty picture, whatever you want there. Okay, so the login page is getting there. It's pretty much done. So I'm going to move this off, and let's pull up our guide again. Sorry, I'm going to actually not hide my taskbar because this is proving to be a pain. Lovely Windows 11. All right, there we go. We'll just keep that there. Okay, so next up, we've got our login page essentially built. Let me just keep reading through the guide here and make sure I didn't miss anything. There's another part in the guide that mentions the footer. So if we look down here, we see this powered by WordPress, UiPress, Kinsta, WordPress, yada yada. The problem with this is, let's say an editor is logged into your site and they're like, oh, what's all this? What's UiPress? What's WordPress? Some of these people aren't responsible when they're putting these links in, meaning they don't open up in a new tab like they should. So for example, if you look at WordPress, if you click on that link, it's going to take your users away from the site, which is not good. Not the end of the world. They can always hit the back button, but you might just want to get rid of this altogether. I can't think of a reason why you need to show it, but maybe I'm just missing something there. Anyway, in the guide, I give you a code snippet, and you can just copy it and drop it, as it says, drop it right here into the admin CSS and save your changes. So now let's go ahead and refresh this page, and then this footer should go away. There you go. So that's gone. Totally up to you if you want to do that yourself or don't do it. It just depends on your setup. Okay, so we're looking at light mode here. A lot of people like to use dark mode. I actually prefer to use dark mode myself when it comes to UiPress. So let's go ahead and look at how to set that up. And if you go up here in the top right of the UiPress settings screen, you're going to see your little avatar. You can actually do it, I think. Let me see. Let's just go to the regular dashboard. Yeah, so you can just go to on any admin screen, just go click on your little avatar in the top right, and then just flip this toggle to dark mode. Okay? So it looks pretty good out of the box, and now we're going to go and make it look even better. So we've toggled that on, and next thing we need to do is go look at our styles. So remember, we changed UiPress to MyListing Club. So let's type in MyListing Club. We want to go to styles. So let's go there. And I'm going to copy my settings from my other test site just to save us some time here. All right, so the very first thing we want to do is get this blue color changed that we see everywhere on there. And for that, I like to use the same accent color that I use on my MyListing site. So whatever you have set as your accent color under the theme option, for the theme, it's kind of what you're going to use here. But you can use whatever you want, obviously. So I'm going to drop that in. All right, so that pulls in that yellow. And then for the hover, I'm going to use my hover version of that. So this is the hover version of my accent color. Okay? And regardless of whether I'm in light mode or dark mode, I'm going to use that same color. So you might as well go ahead and put these in just in case you ever want to flip between dark and light. Just set it up to begin with. But a real important part here is this default column is going to just default to whatever UiPress uses out of the box. So until you flip over to dark mode like we have here, this column has no effect. Okay, but because we're in dark mode, this column does have effect. This is an important piece to keep in mind. Now, a lot of people ask about what this color wash is, and I had that same question until I did some tests, quick testing. And what that is like when you hover over a button or something, certain buttons, there's going to be like this this semi-transparent spread that happens underneath the element. It's hard to see here, but that's what that is. It's just a semi-transparent spread that occurs when you hover over a button. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in what I'm using for that. It's basically, again, just a semi-transparent 4%, 40%. So that 0.4 is 40% of my accent color. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and then save. You can see it already applied there. So we don't even need to refresh at this point, but you see the primary accent color is now changed to that yellow, and then when you hover, it changes to the hover color, and then you see it's actually when you click. So you see that little spread there, that's the primary color wash, okay? And I'm also going to change it to match the font that I use on the site. So I use Sans Pro, Source Sans Pro, so we're going to set that. So you and your users will see a consistent look whether you're on the front end of your site or the back end. So that's a neat feature. Moving on down to the text portion, we want to change our text color to be our accent color. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that again for light and dark mode, or default and dark mode. Or sorry, my fault, wrong box. Text emphasis. That's the one we want there. Okay, so you see what that changes. So if I remove that, we see that the menu items over here on the left are still white, the bright white when emphasized, which means active. If I change that to my accent color, we now see those pop over to that yellow. Okay, and you can change other things too. We're not going to cover every color setting in this video. This video would go on forever. Let's go. We can now skip on down to, let's see, what else did I change? All right, the only other thing I changed on this was the login background. So we're going to change that to match the black that I use for my branding. So did I get the number of ones in there? Yeah. Okay. So we see again, this is the login page. We're going to set it to black. But if we look at our login page on this let's see here, we see it's already black. And the reason for that is because I chose a huge image that had a black background. So in this particular case, it's not necessary to set this dark mode black background. But let's go ahead and set that. Save our changes. And let's look at this login screen again. We see that nothing has changed as far as the background goes. But we do see here over that that accent color of ours is taken hold. The button's working, and the field emphasis border is working. So we're done. Like, we've just branded our login page. Just that easy. Really cool stuff. But again, we changed this background to black. let's say you wanted to put a small logo in the center of that background section on the login page. And to kind of like help with optimization, you wanted it to load even just that much faster. You wanted to put a smaller version of my logo, for example. So let's do that, and let's go back to our settings here. Login, background. So instead of using a massive background, let's just use our little favicon image again here. So we see it's only 512 by 512, and it has no background to it. Okay, so now we did that, let's refresh our login page. So you can see here, it's really distorted. That's one of the problems, is it's trying to blow up whatever logo you put in here as a massive image. It's trying to blow it up. That's why what I've been doing is just doing like a 19 by 20 image with the background in it that you actually want, so it doesn't blow it up. The other option is you could do a transparent background with the logo or whatever centered in the middle. So when it does blow up, it doesn't blow up the logo too, if that makes any sense. But the other thing too is if you put a large image in here, like a 1920 by 1920 background of like an actual photo of a city or something like that, then you don't have to worry about any of this. It's just going to look great out of the box. So let's go ahead and let's see if we can upload an image, a big image. So let's do like this bar. There, see what I mean? It just looks great. You don't have to worry about any of that. Just get a big image in there and it all looks good. Okay. All right, so that is it. We'll go ahead and leave that alone, and I'll get back to the guide and we'll see where we are at with this. Oh yeah, so the other thing too that you can do when you're setting your colors, if you don't know or the hex color or whatever, you can click on this little palette. No, let's do this one. Or sorry, click on the little circle there and it's going to bring up this palette option. So then you can select and you can change the transparency yourself and whatever. So that's a really nice feature. And you can clear it by clicking the X there. Okay, so let's see what else. Primary color we've set. Done the wash, the font, we've done that. By default, UiPress will show the Nanuto Google font. So I've showed you there how you can change your font. I've put in a feature request to allow us to use system fonts, which I'm a big proponent of for optimization. So it's not a huge deal because, like I said, UiPress doesn't really slow down your dashboard to begin with, but you know, every millisecond counts. If you could just have that option, that would be great to do system fonts. And because we're working with Google Fonts, I would look at using a plugin like Perf Matters to host those fonts locally and preload them. It's going to make things even that much more faster. Let's see what else here. We've done the text emphasis, color, overview page. Okay, so we're done with our styles for the purposes of this video and the guide. So let's jump over to the overview page. And this is basically a page that you can totally trick out to do all kinds of things and then set it to be the default place that you and your users land on, or maybe just you, or just your, sorry, not your user. So maybe everyone that logs into the back end of your website, or just you, or maybe just your editors, or just your authors. You can do whatever you want. So I'm just going to go over here how to set this up from a basic standpoint. Okay, so to start, you're going to click on this little page settings icon, and you're going to drop it into editing mode. And the first thing you want to do is you want to create a new section. And then once you're in that section, you can give it a name. Let me see what I named mine. Let's see, I called mine Nerdy Stuff. And then you can put in a description, or you can just clear it out. I'm just going to go ahead and clear out the description because I know what it's for. And then I'm going to click this plus symbol right here to add a new column. and I'm going to click this plus symbol again to add my card to it. So for this nerdy stuff, I want to add system info. You can see here you've got all kinds of options, but I'm going to add system info by clicking the add card button. And just like that, just in a much prettier fashion, it pulls in our system info. And I'm going to go ahead and save changes. And exit out of editing mode. So there we go, just like that. That's how you can add a card in there. Let's go ahead and let's do another one. Let's add a video. So we go back into editing mode. Same process. We can add a new column if you want this all to appear on the same row here. So let's go ahead and do that. But the problem is we called this section nerdy stuff. Let's make a new section. Let's call this one training videos. Learn how to use our platform. Okay, and click the plus symbol to add a column, add the plus symbol again to add a card, and we're going to search cards this time. We're going to type in video. Add card. Okay, in the title here, we're going to call this one editor training. So this will be a video that's just specific for our editors. We're going to use a YouTube video. You can see you can use Vimeo, YouTube, or a direct link to your video that you host. I recommend you don't self-host it and you instead, use YouTube or Vimeo. So we're going to use YouTube in this case. Let me pull my video here. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, actually, let me show you how. Let me pull this up actually on YouTube. So this is all in the guide too, but once you pull up the full thing here on the full video on YouTube, and you click the share button, there's going to be this embed option. You might be inclined, like I was, to copy this and paste it in, but I found out that didn't work. So if you click embed, then all you need to do is just copy this source link. So in between the quotes there, just copy that. And then we're going to drop that video into the video URL field. It's a mouthful. All right, save changes. Exit out of editing mode. Boom, just like that. You've got a training video section, nerdy stuff video, and you can move this stuff all around. So we can move nerdy stuff to the top and so forth. The other thing you can do is export this. So if you've got multiple sites and you don't want to start from scratch, you can export your layout and then import it in on the other side. So that's another cool feature. All right. The last little bit here we'll do for this page is look at the analytics. I know that will be popular with some people. This might reduce a plugin for some. If you have a plugin that's just for showing your analytics in the back end of your website, this would replace that. Okay, so let's go into editing mode. Let's add a new section. Call this analytics. We're going to just remove the description on this one. We're going to add our column. We're going to add our analytics. So for this one, you can do let's do page views. You can add that. You can even do a page speed card. All kinds of things you can do. So I'm going to add this card. And you'll see right here that it wants you to authenticate with Google. So I'm going to do that on another screen just for privacy's sake. But you click this button and it's going to want you to authenticate. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Well, actually, I'm going to skip that for now. Oh, I'm going to show you, I'll just show you what it looks like. I've got, in the guide, I've got images for it. So I'll just show you. There's no need to recreate it. So this is my other site where I tested all of this stuff before doing the video and the guide, but you'll see it all in action here. So this is what it looks like. Okay. You can add all kinds of different analytics cards to it. All right, so let's just go ahead. We'll just take this out. So you just remove section, save changes, exit editing mode. All right, so we'll just leave off with that. All right, next thing we want to look at, as I said, this thing is packed with features. But for the purposes of this guide and this video, what I really wanted to show you was if you had multiple people logging into your dashboard, editors, authors, whatever, shop managers, WooCommerce product vendors, whatever it may be. That's what I really wanted to show you, the settings that I would consider setting up based on those scenarios. Okay, so go ahead and just do a search again for our settings. Go to MyListing Club settings, or it'll be the name of your site settings if you choose to rename UiPress. All right, so the first one I talk about here is under General, and that is setting the overview page as the home page. So what that's going to do is, as soon as anybody logs in to your your dashboard, they're going to get hit with this overview page. Okay, so that's why it's really cool, really important to really set up the overview page in a really like how you want it, because that's what you're going to be potentially presenting by default. So I like to set that there. Okay, the next one we're going to go to is toolbar, and let's see, open view website and new tab. Yeah, this one is one of those that kind of goes along with that footer setting I had. So if you don't set this, if somebody clicks on this home icon, it's going to take them off of your site. So I'll just show you how that looks. They click that. It's going to take them to the front end of your site, and they're going to leave the back end, which is not a good experience. So there we go. Again, they can hit the back button, but you might as well just toggle this button and instead take them to a new tab. I got to refresh, sorry. There we go. So that's how I would recommend doing that. The other one is showing notifications. So that is down here. Only show notifications to, as the website owner, I mean, you probably only want to show notifications to your admins, and maybe not even all the admins, maybe just yourself. So let's just pretend that you trust all of your admins. You're just going to type in admin and choose the administrator role. Okay, so now your editors and your authors and whatnot won't get burdened with seeing notifications like, hey, Elementor is out of date, or my listing has an update, etc., etc. Same with only show updates too. I'm just going to click on that and type in admin and save changes. Okay, next up is the advanced tab. And for this one, it's similar. We want to hide it from. This one's a bit backwards. So if we go, let's go back here. Only show notifications to. It's a bit backwards on this one, and I've reached out to the developer and said it should be consistent. But I think it should be. You should set who it's available for and not disabled for. So you have to know all the roles on your website in this case. So let's just say you want to disable the advanced for authors. So that's how you would do that. Maybe even your editors. There you go. So now they're not going to see this advanced tab that we're in right now. It's just going to be gone. So I highly recommend that you hide that. Okay, let's jump over to folders. And what folders do is, if you look in the media library, let's see here, let's pull that up. if you look in the media library, you see there's an ability to create folders, which is awesome. This is another potential to remove a plugin. So there are plugins that are just for manipulating the media library and adding folders and drag and drop between folders. So this might eliminate another one of those plugins. So if you click on folders, you can add a folder name, iMedia, give it a color. Whatever, and then click create, and just like that, you can see you've created your folders, and you can drag and drop and all that stuff. So that's really cool. But maybe you don't want that, and I actually think that you should disable that for everybody except for those that are managing content on your website. So that would be administrators and editors. Unless you create a super specific role to you might want to add those as well. So if we go back to our settings, we want to, again, choose those roles. So disabled for, this is another one of those backwards. We want to disable it for authors. And that's potentially pretty much it. So this leaves it open to the administrators, the editors, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save those changes, and let's look at this other test site here. So let me create a user. All right, I'm going to create a user called author. All right, so you see here, I'm creating a new user called author, and I put the password in, and I set the role to author. Okay, so now over here on this test site, let's log in as author. And let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and set our I missed one here. Here we go. Set overview as homepage. So I'll go ahead and show you that. So there we go. They log in, and boom, they get hit with their overview page, and they can go right to their training and get their videos and all that good stuff. So if they look up under media, go to library, we see the folders are gone. So they can't create folders, whereas me, the admin, I can add folders. Okay, so really cool stuff there. All right, moving on, overview. Who can edit the overview page? So we're now in the overview tab. Who can edit the overview page? Again, we don't want authors and editors to be able to do, just the admin should be in this one. So who can edit? So admin. Oops. Just as simple as that. You may be wondering what that super admin is. That's a great question. That's something that UiPress adds. I would have to dig in a little deeper into what that is, but that's some custom role that they add. I'll look into that and get it added to the guide. I've just never taken the time to really look. But anyway, so we're just saying that only the admins can edit the overview page. So the reason that's important is you don't want like an author or an editor to get in there and just start dumping whatever the heck they want to add in there that maybe you don't want them to add in there. It's pretty simple reason why you don't want them to be able to edit that stuff. Okay. All right, what are we moving on to? Overview, content page. Same thing here. We want to disable this. We want to disable this for everybody but the administrators and authors. So let's go ahead and just or administrators and editors should be the only ones that should be able to edit the content page. And the reason editors are allowed on this one, in my opinion, is because editors help you produce content. Okay, so I'm going to just say author here. Oh, that's another cool thing too. So you can actually choose it by just the user. So this is that new author account that we created. So let's just do author again. We're going to do the role. So authors cannot change the content page. What is the content page? Great question. So if you look over here in your menu system, UiPress adds a content page. Content page is basically all, it's what it says. It's all the content, whether it's it's images, pages, whatever. It has really powerful features where you can filter by post type. Basically, it's like whatever you have access to in these areas: post types, post status, dates, media, categories, tags. It's just your one-stop shop for all things media. And from here, you can create stuff. You can create folders. Again, filter. You can actually upload content. Set the way the columns look and items per page, things of that nature. You can search, but as the name suggests, it's all things content. Okay, templates, everything. So really powerful feature. And again, we're just wanting the administrators and editors to be able to access this page at all. So if I toggle this on to prevent authors from getting there, let's go ahead and look at that. So we see the content item here on the left. If I refresh my page, that content is gone. So we're just further locking down how the dashboard looks to certain people. We want for authors especially, they should have a very, very minimum dashboard, very little stuff in there. They shouldn't need to do much. All right, continuing on, real important piece here. And there's actually a separate guide that I linked to. It's admin pages, very powerful stuff. So basically what these are just custom pages that you create and add to the WordPress dashboard menu for all of your backend website users, or just a select few, or whatever you want to do there. Within this guide, I'm just going to show you the settings again. I have in the other guide, I'll show you how to build the actual page. So we click on the admin pages, and who can create or edit admin pages. Again, we just want this to be admins. So administrator role, who can see admin pages? This is up to you. If we leave it blank, everybody can see it. Actually, I take that back. Looking at this setting, UiPress will only show admin pages for the user roles you select. All right, let's just test that out. To do that, we need to create one. So, well, let's just go by what it says here. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so you have to, I was looking back at my notes, you have to explicitly set. So, I guess you got to go through and put everyone in there. UiPress will only show admin pages for the users or roles you select. All right. So you just got to go through here. I'll make a note to the developer. I think this should be easier. So you just go in and put your roles in here. And just like that. All right, so I think that covers the admin part of this. Like I said, in the other guide, I'll do another video, and it's just going to be to cover the admin pages because it's an awesome feature on its own that needs to be covered. The last piece, I think here, is the menu creator. So over here, under the settings menu of WordPress, there's a menu creator that UiPress adds. So click on that. What you can do here is create a custom menu That you can do all kinds of things, like show it to specific people, add custom icons, add a custom hierarchy, like just all kinds of crazy stuff. So let's just go ahead and look at that. I'll click on this new button up here. You can also click this create your first admin menu button. And let's add our, there's a search feature here. Let's look at this from an editor's point of view again. So they shouldn't be getting into your listing types necessarily, but you want them to get into the listing. So we're just going to add this whole thing here, but you can drill down and give them specific things here that only they should look at. For the purposes of this guide, let's just go ahead and let's just give them all of the listing stuff. You want to give them all the posts, potentially the media, the pages, anything that has to do with producing content. So templates maybe. All right, we'll start with that, and then just click save here. And then let's see, where is it at? Sorry, I have to, menu settings. So you toggle over to menu settings, and we'll give this a name. We'll call this editor menu or something like that. And then who it applies to. It defaults to inclusive. So we are saying, let's apply this only to the editor role. Okay? In this case, let's apply this to the author role, since that's what I've created. No, we'll make this editor. So call this editors menu. We're only going to apply it to editors and save it. Actually, make sure we put this in. Yeah, so now if I do a refresh, we don't see the menu down here, okay? But if I was to log in, let's go ahead and go back into that menu. Let's just, for the sake of simplicity of this video, so I don't have to create another account, let's just call it authors menu. Let's change this to authors. And save. So obviously if we refresh, we're not going to see it. We don't have the author role, even though we're the admin. So let's look at our other screen here. So now we are logged in as the author. Let's refresh this page. And maybe they have to log in and log out. Let me double check my work here. Yeah, and as you can see here, you can do all kinds of cool things. You duplicate it, export it to another site, whatever you want to do there. So we're just going to edit it. In inclusive mode, this menu will load for all usernames and roles selected below. All right, let's just make this even easier for us. Let's just set it to admin role. Save. Refresh our screen. Yeah, so this is a caveat. This is a caveat that I actually put in the guide, and I wrote the developer. So what you could easily do is lock yourself completely out of your site as an admin. And I put that note on there. Be very careful if you're going to use this. It's easy to misstep and lock yourself out of your own WordPress dashboard, which essentially we've done now. So I'm in as the admin. It's now applied this authors menu as my menu, and I've lost all of the ability to admin. Okay. Luckily, I have another dashboard screen open, so I can actually go to my menu creator settings. Oh, it's completely locked me out. So luckily, let's see if I can just delete that menu. Okay. All right, so that got me back. So you just got to be careful there what you do. Let's try this a different way. Let's add listings again. Menu settings, let's call this editor's menu. In exclusive mode, this menu will load for every user except those usernames and roles you select there. In inclusive mode, the menu will load for all usernames and roles selected below. So that might actually be a bug unless I'm looking at this wrong, because I chose the author there. All right, let's type in, maybe I'm brain farting this. Let's put in administrator again. No, we don't want that because then it's going to show. Okay, so we need, okay, exclusive mode is what we need. So let's save that. Sorry, maybe I'm not just fully awake this morning. Refresh. Okay, cool. So the admin doesn't see it. But now if I look at my other screen, there we go. There it is. So that's what we said. We said we want the author role to only see this stuff here. And if they try to go elsewhere, they're going to get that message. You need higher permissions. So what you can do is, let's go back to our menu creator. Let's edit this. And we'll add in posts and media and pages. And then save. And now we'll go back to this screen and refresh, and we should see a lot more options here. So now if we pretend like this was our editor, we give them all of the tools and only the tools that they need to do their job. Okay, which we've done here. And you can create as many menus as you want to. Let's go back here. So let's say you've created the editor's menu and now you want to do an author's menu. You can go in here and duplicate it so you don't have to start from scratch, and then edit this one from there. So then let's say authors don't need media because we're going to apply a featured image automatically for them. Things of that nature. They don't need pages. We just want them to do posts. That's all we want them to do. They probably need media actually. So we'll give them media and posts, and then we'll do save. All right, so that's pretty much it. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything for the purposes of this video. Menu settings for. Yeah, all right, that's it for this video. I mean, there's just so much stuff, you guys, that you can do with this plugin. And like I said, you can probably eliminate a couple plugins depending on what you're using on your site. Like a media library plugin, for example, a custom menu plugin for doing roles and things of that nature in the back end, hiding things in the back end. I just barely touched on each of these sections. There's just so much you can do in here. You can inject code and HTML into the header of your website, the head of your website. You can add JavaScript, all kinds of things. It goes on and on and on and on once you start diving into here. Okay, and then again, the styles. Don't forget the styles. And then lastly, I'm going to have that other guide that's released today, as well as the video for creating custom admin pages. So definitely be on the lookout for that. And hope everybody's well, and thanks for watching. See you soon.